Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Underneath the Hood with Glen and Dave. I'm Dave Martin. I'm the owner of Martin's Auto Repair down in Central Phoenix.
And I'm Glenn Hayward, the proud owner of Goodworks Auto Repair in sunny Tempe, Arizona.
And we are here changing the perception of the auto repair industry by going behind the scenes and under the hood.
In these podcasts, we're going to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of owning a small business in the auto repair industry from an insider's point of view.
So let's get started. Hey, good morning, Glenn.
David, how are you, my friend?
Living the automotive dream. Every day is a new adventure. And you know what?
I love the
Today,
way I love your expression when you say
Yeah.
a new adventure. It's like, okay, go ahead.
And today, you know what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about money-saving tips on your car.
All righty.
I mean, I can't help you with, your spouse spending too much money at Amazon or
Right.
at the store.
But
at
we
the mall.
can help. but money saving tips on your car, that could be very helpful to a lot of consumers out there.
If you're, yeah. Right now, Amazon comes to my shop way more than I'd like it to. My granddaughter just turned 3. So
I thought you meant you were servicing their vehicles.
No. I wish that were the case. They'd be taking their money instead of them taking my money.
Exactly.
Yeah, Amazon's
I
showing
like
way
that,
up too
yeah.
much, and my granddaughter is just it keeps on getting more and more packages, which is not good because I know I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to talk about money saving tips on your car and what people can do to kind of do it as economically as possible. We know auto repair is very expensive, and we get it. We understand that, but you don't need to spend as much as you think if you just do a few basic things.
Right. We call it preventative maintenance, and preventative maintenance is always cheaper than repairs.
Oh,
always.
No doubt.
By 80%.
Yeah, absolutely. And making sure you keep your car value up, keeping your car clean, keeping if you got bird poop on your car, you want to get that off as quick as possible because it can help, it can ruin the paint, and you don't want that.
Giving the birds the bird because they left a package on your
Yeah.
on your hood or your roof or whatever.
Yeah, they're not carrier pigeons either, I guess.
No.
But even keeping the inside of your vehicle clean is help. Put your kids in the trunk. I mean, I'm kidding. Don't put your kids in the trunk.
I tried that once, and they tried to arrest me.
Yeah, they don't like it. Well, when we were kids, we used to ride in the back of the truck. Now you do that, and you're a bad parent.
You know what? I saw a guy down the freeway riding on the back of a truck. It was like 45 degrees. He's in the back of a pickup truck with his hair blowing in every direction. He wasn't dressed appropriately for 45 degrees, and they're whizzing down 70 miles an hour, and he's riding. And this is an adult, by the way.
Well, yeah. I mean, we were kids. I was in the back of the truck, but they don't do that anymore because you get into trouble. You become a bad parent putting your kids in the truck.
I'm surprised that this truck didn't get pulled over, and you need to get in the cab or stick your thumb out on the side of the road. Go ahead.
So, don't ignore warning signs. Smells, sounds, vibrations, changes in performance. How many times do people say, well, everything's gradual. Like the car could have, when they first bought it, had a lot of power, but maybe after a while, the performance wasn't what it was when they first bought it. But they didn't really notice it until somebody else drove it. Like a lot of times, how many times have you gotten in a customer's vehicle and drove it around going, hey, how long has it been doing this? And they're like, what? They didn't even really realize
it sneaks up on them little by little, and then all of a sudden it's a problem that someone else may notice because they've gotten used to it. They're immune to the whatevers.
And it's gradual. If it's so gradual, then you really don't pick up on it. And so that's the important part about taking it into a shop and getting your oil changed by a shop that can look over the whole vehicle. I understand everybody is in a rush. We're all in a hurry. We've got a million things going on. The thing of it is take the extra time, take it into a shop, let them do a complete inspection of the vehicle, let them drive the vehicle, let them give you an assessment of what kind of condition that vehicle's in, because that way we can prevent you from having those big repairs down the road when it breaks down in the tow bill. Then it comes into the shop, and then of course it always happens at the worst time when you're broke down. You need to be somewhere. You got your kids, you got your family, you got something going on. You got to be at work. You want to make sure you're not putting yourself in that position.
Right. Well, I think people become suspicious too when, they're driving the car. It seems to drive fine. The transmission's shifting good. The air conditioner's working fine. And, they come in and all of a sudden you say, well, you need to have your transmission fluid flushed. You need to have your coolant flushed. Well, it's not leaking, it's shifting fine, whatever their logic is. And again, it's not wrong for them to think that, but we can show them right in their owner's manual, which I assimilate to the Bible in the hotel room. It's there, but no one ever reads it.
Yeah.
And the deal is that these things we know as professionals what the manufacturers recommend, and we know the damage that can happen when these intervals aren't recognized and
Well,
abided by.
and you brought up really the owner's manual is you call it a Bible, and it's a really great guide. But the only thing I tell people too is out here in Arizona with our weather, which brings me into the next topic is seasonal maintenance. Well,
Yeah.
so one of the things is that owner's manual is the same here as it is in Colorado. But you and I both know our temperature and our weather is totally different. Our climate's
Extreme.
different.
It's extreme.
Right. And so how many times in the summertime when we get that 100-degree weather do you end up having to do head gaskets because somebody didn't take care of their cooling system? And you'd alluded to that, servicing the cooling system. Well, if you don't service your cooling system and that car overheats, chances are you're going to do some sort of engine damage. And if you do engine damage, now you've turned a $300 service into a $3,000 repair.
Right. Well, because antifreeze can be very deceptive too, because it can look good and everything, but we have actual test strips that we put into the liquid itself. And when they turn a certain color, that means this is no longer protecting your engine the way it needs to. And how many radiators do we open up every year? Hundreds of them, where there's crust inside of them, and the tube assemblies, which is actually the antifreeze is supposed to be flowing through and gets cooled by the fan, or one of the two fans isn't working on the thing. The car starts overheating, or the air conditioner stops working right. So these are all things that we will see and find when you come in. It's not like something you just look under the hood, everything, I don't see anything leaking or whatever, so everything must be good. Just keep driving the vehicle.
Right. And back to the thing, just getting your vehicle checked out by a professional that knows, and go to a shop that they do everything. Don't go to a shop that just does a few things, because chances are the people that are looking at your car aren't skilled enough to be able to tell you if they see something that is wrong that could leave you stranded. We want to make sure that you don't get stranded. And I said this in our other episode. I go, people think that broken down cars make us happy. They really don't. Broken down cars just basically they make our day a lot harder, because we have a scheduled that we have to go by, and we've told all these clients that they're scheduled their car in. We were going to get their car back today. Now your car's broken down. Now we have to fit you in, and we have to make sure we get your car out in a decent amount of time too.
Right, and when you get what we call a digital inspection, which the top shops really do, and that's still only about 10% of the entire...
Pictures are worth 1,000 words.
They are.
Love it.
Not only that, but it gives you an actual, this was checked, this was checked, this was checked. It's a list that we follow religiously, because the tech has to report back to the service advisor, who then has to inform you about the conditions of everything. And most of the time, 60 or 70% of the stuff is good. It's not like we're trying to find something. We're just trying to keep you informed. What has to be done now, what needs to be done later, and what has to be done a year from now. That way you can plan financially.
Well, and you brought up the digital vehicle inspection, and that just helps you with warranty items too. If there's some sort of warranty items, you have all that ammunition to, like, if you got an extended warranty, or if you got maybe a manufacturer's warranty, they're going to ask you, did you change the oil in this car? Did you do these service maintenance? Did you do these maintenance items? And if you did them, chances are they're going to cover it. If you didn't do any of it and you don't have any records of it,
I've
it's
seen
gonna
many
it's
claims.
going to be difficult.
I've seen
They'll
many
deny
claims
it.
denied because, do you have any records of when you changed your oil? Because the engine had a catastrophic oil failure, engine locked up. Well, let me see your records. Well, I don't have any records. I go to some quick oil change place, or I do it myself in my garage. Well, guess what? There's no way to record that, and the problem is that you can swear on a stack of Bibles that you change your oil every 5,000 miles or whatever the interval is supposed to be, but you have no proof of it, so you're screwed. They're not going to replace your motor for you.
Oh, absolutely. And another good saving tip is and we've seen this happen in some of the boards I've been on too, has done dispute resolution and stuff like that, and I've served on those boards. And I will say, in a lot of cases, find a good shop and stick with them, because the thing of it is one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to underservice your vehicle is what we're talking about. If you don't underservice your vehicle, it can cost you a lot more money. But the other side of the coin is sometimes people overservice their vehicle because they go to 3 or 4 different shops in a year and nobody knows what services have been done, because a lot of times you just can't tell. And, you know, they need to be done at certain mileage intervals. And people say, well, has this been done? And the consumer don't remember. So what happens is they end up doing it again in a short interval, which didn't need to be done. So then
Right.
you spent money.
It didn't hurt anything except their pocketbook.
Right,
but-
there you go. It didn't hurt anything but their pocketbook. So you want to make sure that you communicate, build a relationship with the shop. That's really what we want as a shop owner. I know you do the same thing that we do.
Absolutely.
We want that relationship. We want you to be happy. We want your vehicle to be in tip-top shape. We want it to be reliable. We want it to be safe. And these are important to us. And so find a good shop and stick with them. And then shop around if you have concerns, but be wary of quotes provided over the phone.
Yeah,
That's
quotes over the phone. Everybody wants to be the cheapest, so they'll quote you some thing, and then you get your car. They quote you a low price. Maybe it's lower than the last guy, the last 2 guys you called. So you go in there and, oh, well, you've got this and this and this. You know, a brake job is a typical example of that. I need brakes. How much will they cost? Somewhere between $200 and $1,000. Well, what kind of quote is that? I don't know what kind of brakes you have on your car. The same exact vehicle model will have 2 or 3 different kinds of brakes on it, depending on the size of the tires and wheels that you have on the vehicle. They put different brakes on them because the stopping distances and the capacity they need. Anyway, I won't get into a lot of detail, but at the end of the day, you could have a quote on a vehicle, and you could be totally wrong because you don't know all of the sub-vehicle specs on
and
the thing.
we had a vehicle. I had a guy call me about a couple of years ago, and he called me up and he said, how much you put a water pump in this car and this particular vehicle? Well, I knew on this particular vehicle that the thermostat housing was plastic, and it always leaked. They had problems with them leaking. And it was right on top of the water pump. So what happened is it would leak down and it would make you think that the water pump was leaking. So he called me up and he goes, how much you put a water pump in that car? And I go, well, in that vehicle, it's probably the thermostat housing. It's probably not the water pump. And he goes, really? And I go, yeah. I go, what you need to do is get it in a shop. Let's put it under pressure. Let's figure out where the leak is. I said, because if you're going to call around and you're going to tell people, you're going to ask people to put a water pump in your car, they put a water pump in your car, and it doesn't fix your leak.
It keeps leaking.
Yeah, it's not a win for you, and it's not a win for the shop. So the bottom line is that you want to make sure that what you're doing is actually going to fix your problem. And getting a quote, we all understand our money, we all understand a budget. I get all that, but you want to make sure, and you alluded to this, Glenn, is that you want to make sure that we're comparing apples to apples, and what that shop is offering. Get a written quote.
And what's the warranty?
Yeah,
That's another thing, 90-day warranty, 1-year warranty. Our shops, mine has a 5-year warranty. You have at least, what, a 3-year warranty?
3 to 36. But
Yeah.
the question is, the thing for me is get in writing, because that way we know what you're getting. And we've said this at other episodes, where timing belt. Customer will call up and ask for how much to put a timing belt on a car. Well, if I'm going to do a timing belt on a car, and especially if it's got 150, 200,000 miles on it, chances are the water pump's going to have to be replaced, because you're right there.
Yep.
You're going to save a ton of labor.
And there's tensioners involved, and other
seals,
things,
oil seals. So you want to make sure that they're doing the right service. Throwing a timing belt on there, and then 2 months later having to take it all back apart and putting a water pump
Reusing
on
a
there.
tensioner is an absolute no-no, but there's places that do it. They collapse it, and then they put it back on, and then
Well, and
timing belt.
the problem is that in the end,
Vibrating
you're not
and
saving any
braking.
money. You think you're saving money up front, but in the end, you're going to have to do it again, and it's going to cost you a bunch more money. So you want to make sure that you have all that information before you make those decisions. And then, is there anything you can do? Is there anything you can do to your car to get a better quote on your car insurance?
Yes, there are actually a few things. Some I wouldn't do or recommend for certain people. You can get a little DLC thing, your data link connector, where you go to check your emission stuff. You can put that on there, and it tracks the way you drive, how fast you drive, how long your braking distances are. I mean, all kinds of stuff. And you may end up paying more insurance, because if you drive like an idiot, you're going to end up paying higher insurance.
Well, if you don't drive like an idiot, you can't keep up with the rest of them.
Right. Some things that you can do is you can, show your insurance company that you're only driving your car. There are people who only drive 2 or 3, 5,000 miles a year on their vehicle.
Yeah.
They're paying full boat insurance and all this other stuff. Now, if you're driving 30 or 40,000 miles, and there are those people who drive 30 or 40,000 miles a year on their vehicles because they're taking business trips and their business requires them to drive their own vehicle, and they're driving all over God's green earth. If you're a delivery driver and you're using your own vehicle,
Or Uber driver, you got to.
The company's not paying for your insurance. That's the thing. You're paying for. They're getting their neck out of the noose. They're not paying for your insurance. If you have a wreck, too bad, so sad.
Yeah.
It's all on you. So these are things that all need to be considered, and also your insurance company probably should know that, hey, I'm a delivery driver. If you don't tell them and you get caught, you didn't tell us that, so you're screwed.
Well, and I tell people this all the time. If you're going to go buy another car, a used car, new car, doesn't matter. Check with your insurance company to see what the coverage is on it, see what the cost of it is before you buy that vehicle. Because people think, okay, so I can afford, let's just say it's a $500 a month car payment, which is cheap for today's world. And you can afford that, but you look at your insurance, and your insurance is going to cost you
$300 a month.
Yeah, and you can't afford to pay your insurance. What good does a car do you?
Yeah, it depends on your age, your driving record, how you're using the vehicle. All these things, the insurance companies now who claim they're going broke are finding ticky-tacky ways to add on to your insurance. Even if you're a good driver, even if you've had a great accident record or a great driving record, whatever it is, you don't have any DUIs, you don't have any speeding tickets, they're tacking on money to your insurance policies just because they can, because they're going broke, because they've supposedly paid all these claims for the hurricanes and cars underwater and all. That's not my problem, but they're making it my problem, and they're making it your problem, Mr. and Mrs. Consumer, that you're listening to. And I'm not trying to stand on a soapbox. I'm just saying, listen, that's a huge consideration, a valid thing that Dave said. You need to find out what is it going to cost you to insure. Now you've got a newer car, a more valuable car, and believe me,
if you got payments on it, you got to get full coverage too. You can't just get liability. Right, absolutely.
So these are really important things to consider before you go out and buy. Well, I can afford a $500 a month car payment. Okay, can you afford another $300 or $400 a month for the insurance you're going to need to insure it? Unless you're paying cash for it.
Yeah,
But if you're making payments, and you have to carry full coverage, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Very simply put.
Yeah, that's so. We hope that we gave you some money saving tips to and just really keep your car up, and you don't let it get to the point where we get customers come in and say, oh, I can't do it this month. I'll do it next month, and then next month never comes, and then pretty soon now they needed $500 worth of maintenance, and now they need $1,000 worth of repairs. So we want to make sure that you're not in that position. So just keep up, build a great relationship with your shop, take that information, make good decisions, and your car will last you for a long period of time.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you and I pretty much wear our cars out.
Oh yeah. We sell them. Oh yeah, absolutely.
200,000-300,000 miles is not unusual for me, and it's not because I'm a cheapskate. I can afford
to buy newer cars.
I am. I'm a cheapskate. Okay. But I'd rather keep the car that I love to drive and keep the body and the interior and the engine and transmission, drivetrain, everything in good condition than just go out and spend a bunch of wonton money to have the latest and greatest newer car. I'm just not. I've never been that person.
Well, one of my customers told me this a long time ago. He said, I don't want to spend $40,000 on another car to fix a $500 problem. So you got you need $500 in your car. Why go out and spend $40,000 on another car?
Or
then that's cheap.
Even $2,000 on your car. When the answer is going to be higher insurance, all these considerations. These are things that you don't always think about. So that's part of what our podcast does. And podcastunderneaththehood.com is where you're going to find us, and we have lots of episodes of this podcast, different subject matters and so on. Look them up. Come see us, recommend us to your friends, and we appreciate it.
Hit the like button.
All righty, man.
Like button.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye.